everyone, and yes, again today I am singing and dancing along while doing my makeup. And starting off, I am using the Glamoflague as I normally do for base slash sometimes full foundation, and that is in Ultralight, I believe, by HardCandy. Something you can usually find at Walmart, very cheap drugstore makeup, but it works very well. Now I'm spraying on some setting spray, just to, make sure that everything stays, and I'm putting Manic Panic Virgin White Dreamtone foundation all over just to make the rest of my neck match, because sometimes I really forget about sunscreen. Now onto that eyeshadow primer. I'm using the primer Photo Ready by Wet n Wild. It's actually a really good primer. Your eyeshadow will stay on pretty much all night, if not the next day. Now on to using some e.l.f. twist kind of eyeliner, not a pencil eyeliner, but the twist kind, just because that is usually a lot safer for my waterlines. If I use pencil, then I typically end up getting the pencil shavings, and nobody likes to deal with that. There, I was just making sure that I didn't have any makeup still on the brush. And now, I'm using one of my favorite palettes, which is Urban Decay's Heavy Metals palette. And I am using the color, and I'm starting off with the color Angel Fire. I don't know what that was, honestly. And then I realized, after using a little Angel Fire, let's go ahead and go into the Supernatural palette and use the color Assbutt, which, yes, the shade is actually called Assbutt, just because I love using that shade for the makeup. Don't mind my dancing. Anywho, back into that palette, going back over with the Angel Fire. I don't know what made me cause the switch, but it was a switch, and it turned out to be a good switch. Now I am going right underneath that to the color Maiden. I can't help it but use a lot of colors when I go into this palette. I just love the shiny colors so much. Now with a little frame by frame, it looks like I dipped into the color Roadie on that same Heavy Metals palette. And then it's hard to tell, but I dipped into the color Scream, which is at the very corner of that palette. Now to get a big fluffy brush, to go ahead and get rid of all of the excess color that has fallen onto my skin and see if there's any other color I need to get rid of. And then I'm just dipping back into the same color since I didn't bother to show anybody. Now it looks like I'm dipping into the shade Base on the same Heavy Metals palette, and that I guess I'm using for the very corners. Back into that color. Basically, if I don't point out what shade I'm dipping into, it's probably the same shade that I last did. But, sped up the video quite a lot, so that's why it's a little hard to tell, and I'm doing the voiceover so that you actually know what colors I'm getting into. Now for the main piece of this makeup look, Stila's little glitter makeup. I'm not entirely sure what kind of thing to call this. It's like an eyeshadow, but the dude told me that I can also use it on my lips. I'm not sure, but I'm going in with the color Smoky Storm, and it is so shiny. It is the most beautiful thing, as you could tell with my little dancing that happened in the middle after putting some on, because shiny. I love it. Now I'm going in with my Urban Decay Heavy Metals liquid eyeliner, and I'm using the color Midnight Cowboy. And this is just because I'm doing a bit of a glitter cut crease, because I'm putting some glitter underneath on the bottom of my eye and around where my eyeliner is gonna be. So basically, I'll do this thing where I make my normal cat eye, bat wing, whatever you want to call it, the I make the wings with the eyeliner. And then I have glitter that goes around it as basically a glitter cut. Not really a glitter cut crease, but a glitter undercut is what I sometimes call it when it's just on the bottom or just surrounding the eyeliner. But yeah. All in all, basically I'm just making glitter everywhere. And yes, right now you will see me going in between the two. Just because I am a perfectionist, so I like to make sure that if I do any mistakes, then I can easily fix that, and I go back and forth quite a lot. Yeah, a lot of my video is just me touching up and going over the same spot. But perfectionist. And now onto the mascara. And yes, once again, I'm using the Collosal Ultra Volume Glam Black or Basic Black, whatever kind of black they have that I think is the blackest black that I see there. But yeah. Then for another round of the setting spray. And once again, I do this because it helps make your makeup water resilient, not really waterproof if it's not already. But yes, it makes it water resilient to try to help out if there's any heavy rain, which living in Washington, that happens a lot. And I'm basically right now using a safety pin or some other type of sharp thing that you should not be using near your eyes. And I was just separating some lashes that got stuck together because of the mascara. Because I am very picky and I like them to look beautiful. And now I am just putting some glitter onto my bottom lashes, basically on the front half of my lashes and in the front corners. And of course, right now I am going over and doing some more foundation over my face just a little bit. Yeah, you can tell when I decide to go really photo shoot good for my makeup when I do layers of foundation, because I normally don't really care for that. But now I am using a kind of dark red, supposed to be long lasting lipstick, supposed to be stain resilient and all that jazz, but you know, as I learned from going to the movies and all that such, you can still very much get it all over your stuff for your partner, whoever. Anyhow, so we're also not talking about that brand because of who the brand person is. We just don't help them out anymore. And then now I am going to go ahead and actually do some contour. I'm doing the lightest shade in the e.l.f. palette, and this is again how you can tell when I am really doing my makeup for the day. I normally don't do all this shit on my face. Once again with the setting spray, wow. Yeah, setting spray. And then I was absolutely in love with this palette, and actually I still kind of am. We aren't going to talk about the artist that created the Alchemist palette, because fuck that racist Nazi bitch. But oh my god, it is so shiny. So I bought this shit before I knew, and oh my god, you can see the shininess coming off already. Like, I shouldn't even have to defend why I love this shit so much, and I don't really need to defend it, considering I bought this shit before I knew about the person. But yeah, I just don't like telling people about makeup from shitty people. And then, yes, once more, I am just doing a couple dabs of foundation in some special areas to try to lighten up, and just basically I felt picky and I felt like there was some shit that needed to be fixed. With me being a perfectionist, I just needed to get that shit done. Now, of course, onto the mane. Gotta tame that mane. Well, tame it a little bit because I'm going back into the lips now, apparently. I am using Smashboxes, some kind of red glittery whatever. It doesn't really work on its own, but over a lipstick, it looks really good. Then I use some of the So Gorgeous dry shampoo before straightening up my hair. And I'm just once again using some dry shampoo in my hair because, yeah, I'm a perfectionist. And volume! And that is basically the completed look. Which, of course, I'm gonna add photos so you can actually see the look. I mean, I know my bathroom has some shitty lighting and all that jazz, but here's a little idea of how it looked after quite some hours and a day.